Hello, 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 and welcome back to DLA Alternative. It's your boy Brandon, and I hope everyone is doing phenomenal. This is just going to be a little extra video because I was doing what I always do right around this time of the year, and I always watch the movie Edward Scissorhands. And what I did not even think of is that our girl Winona Ryder stars in that movie, and this movie has forever been one of my favorite movies of all time. I am a huge Tim Burton fan, and I would love to start getting into that and all of his movies and the mind of Tim Burton. But our girl Winona Ryder stars in this movie as well as Johnny Depp. And this movie is absolutely phenomenal. If you have not seen it, do not live under a rock. Go see it. It is phenomenal. It's on a streaming platform. I'm not too sure which one, but just watch it. It is one of the best movies of all time. And it really lifted the careers of Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp because of how famous that movie is. But just keep in mind that this is just for fun. I'm not sure if these are major references connected to Stranger Things. However, it was a little interesting watching that movie like I do all the time and every year. And I started noticing so much, and I don't know if it's just my mind playing tricks on me because I'm doing so many Stranger Things theories at one time. However, I started noticing all these little things that kind of resemble Stranger Things. And it would make sense because our girl Winona Ryder stars in that, and as well as Stranger Things as Joyce. And that was one of the very first things I noticed, is that her character's name is Kim. However, there is a character in that movie called Joyce, and she's basically the cougar of the town. So I thought it was funny her name was Joyce, and then we have Joyce in Stranger Things. And what's funny is Kim's boyfriend in Edward Scissorhands, his name is Jim. So it's a little interesting that Joyce and Jim end up having a relationship at the end of season 4 and have liked each other for years in Stranger Things. If you've seen the movie, and a spoiler alert, she ends up falling in love with Edward. So she basically ends up falling in love with the monster, kind of like Mike and Elle. I don't want to look at Elle as a monster, but that's how they make her look at some points in time, and she even looks at herself like that. So it's a little funny that we have that love story, and also in Edward Scissorhands, that's kind of how the story goes through the whole entire time. It's really cool. You also have the Christmas lights reference. It's a Christmas-based movie based with a Halloween-esque feel. So it's kind of like season 1 of Stranger Things, where it starts right after Halloween and ends right at Christmas time. And another big Tim Burton reference is The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I thought it was kind of funny that all of season 1 of Stranger Things happens right before Christmas. So it was kind of a nightmare before Christmas. It's interesting, right? But you have the same type of Christmas lights on the house that Kim lives in, which again is Winona Ryder. And in Stranger Things, we know Winona Ryder to have her Christmas lights in season 1 as Joyce when she's trying to connect with Will in the Upside Down. So I also thought that was fucking awesome that they did that. If that has any reference to Edward Scissorhands, I thought that was a great incorporation, because it kind of makes sense if you see the scenes in Edward Scissorhands. Those lights look almost identical to the ones in Stranger Things that Joyce uses. Then also in Edward Scissorhands, his mansion and his home is at the end of a cul-de-sac. And we know our boy Mike Wheeler and the Wheeler family to live at the end of a cul-de-sac. So it's kind of interesting that both of those things are there too. And the Wheeler family really represents Kim's family in Edward Scissorhands a lot. The dad is exactly like Ted, and the mom also brings Edward down from his home so he's not alone, and includes him in their family. So basically, it's like the same thing Mike does with Elle. He brings her home so she's not alone, and he includes her in his family. It's almost the same thing. It's really fucking cool. I love it. So if you want to talk a little bit more references, the whole love story thing, and then you got the Wheeler family is kind of like her family. But you also have the shrubs that are in Edward Scissorhands, which are extremely iconic in that movie because he starts cutting the shrubs with his scissor hands, and he makes amazing, beautiful artwork with the bushes and all around the neighborhood. And he's an amazing artist. So it's like he has this hidden talent that he could use his scissor hands, and he makes this beautiful artwork. So it's really cool. But some of those things that he makes in that movie is, one, he makes a dinosaur, and that dinosaur looks almost identical to me as Will's picture he drew that's in Castle Byers that you see in season 1. And if you ever see it throughout the show, if they have flashbacks to Castle Byers, it's in the back right there. It kind of looks the same. I know it's not exactly the same, but it kind of looks similar. So, and that's a major scene you see Winona in with Will. Maybe things in the background when Winona are there are showing references to movies that she was in and showing homage to what made her big and what gave her her start. I really, really, truly love it. And the Duffer Brothers would totally do something like that. They would totally do this shit. They are so fucking clever. I say it all the time. So there's even a ballerina shrub that he makes. And I want to put that one last. And that's going to be the last reference for this video because there's not too much else. I mean, there's a lot of other things that you can connect it with. But I want to do this ballerina because it looks exactly like the little ballerina music box that you see in Nancy's room. Nancy is exactly kind of like Kim in Edward Scissorhands. She's kind of revolting against her family at the beginning, but then she ends up truly loving her family and ends up loving this man that she would have never expected. It's really, really cool. And I love that they even have episode 2 of season 1, The Weirdo on Maple Street. And so it's kind of like Nancy falls in love with the weirdo, just like Kim falls in love with Edward. It's kind of the same thing, and it's really, really cool if Winona had a lot of influence in this, and she's paying homage to Tim Burton and where she got her major start and some of the movies that she first ever starred in. It would be really, really cool. This was just an extra little fun video that I thought of. So let me know your thoughts. It's your boy Brandon, DLA Alternative, and much love as always. Keep subscribing, keep liking, and following the journey. And you already know, we out.